Hey, what's going on out there, guys? I want to thank you as always for taking the time to stop by the channel. Today we're talking about this indie movie. It's called Alone from director John Hyams. This one screened recently at the Fantasia Film Festival. For me, it was one of my favorite movies from this year's lineup that I was able to see. So let's get into this tense survival thriller to talk about why you may want to add it to your watch list.
I am coming for you.
The story here follows a woman named Jessica, played by Jules Willcox. She's out making a road trip for a relocation. She's moving. She ends up getting kidnapped by a creepy dude with a serial killer mustache. She's going to escape his imprisonment, but only to find herself in the middle of the dense forest as this killer is relentlessly stalking her. Now, I love survival thrillers. I think when they're done properly, they can easily consume the viewer's imagination. When I watch a great one, I'm constantly on edge. I'm imagining what I would do in the scenarios thrown at these characters, and I can easily escape into the storyline if it doesn't feel too contrived, and if it has a grounded vibe to it. All of which I think Alone delivered, because it was a very quick-paced, simply woven story of suspense that kept me locked in from start to finish. It's a very effective, situationally driven thriller as this woman fights for her life, and I loved it. It starts out quick. She has a couple of these just random encounters on the road, and you can instantly feel that they aren't so coincidental. As the viewer, you just sense that this guy is up to something. It really creates a great amount of uneasiness. I mean, she's already out on the country highways and traveling alone, and with this creepy dude popping up, the foreboding tension is effectively woven. Something else I really liked about this movie was how it relied on just two characters alone, and Jules Willcox and Marc Menchaca really come in to deliver world-class performances for their respected character types. Menchaca as this predator out on the roads hunting women was just fantastic in all the seedy ways. He created a persona that was very sinister, dead behind the eyes, and unrelenting, but he did so with a very unassuming persona that I thought worked for the needs of the story, because he kind of just seemed like that common guy you crossed on the roads all the time. And what can you say about Jules Willcox? I mean, she was this movie. She was phenomenal. She was everything this film needed her to be. You don't really need to know much about the character of Jessica's backstory to be able to follow her fight for life in the harsh wilderness. And with the emotional intensity and the sincerity in Willcox's performance, you can't help but care about her. I was immediately connected with Jessica's character. I feared for her throughout every scenario that the story threw at her, and that's really exactly what you want from a movie in this genre. Throughout this story, Jessica is a fighter. It makes you root for her. You want to see her through to the end of the story because of the unpredictability and not knowing how she's going to make it. It didn't try to do too much. It doesn't try too hard to create an over-enthusiastic villain. It didn't try to make Jessica's character a superhero. Everything was very grounded, and despite a couple small little conveniences here and there to keep the story going, I mean, it was extremely realistic, which only makes it that much more emotionally gripping. I also thought how this story broke itself down into sections was a nice touch. It perfectly stages the portion of the story that is to come. It opens with a small title. It is a nice element of foreshadowing that kind of builds some anticipation for what is to come. It was a subtle technique. It doesn't at all hinder the flow of the story, but it does add some intrigue that is already at a high level as it works its way towards what I thought was a terrific final act. The closing of this movie was nail-biting. It was a perfect reward for the movie that led up to it, and overall, this movie blew me away. I had a great time with it. Alone is going to get 90% on the meter, like I mentioned. There were a couple little conveniences here and there to keep the story going, but it wasn't a major drawback at all. The cinematography was fantastic. The on-location shoot was perfect for the story. It captures the beauty and the dangers of the landscapes, and it was just a perfect setting for a well-crafted story of survival. Now for today's My Silver Screen recommendations, I have a couple other survival flicks. First is an undermentioned film that came out recently starring Daniel Radcliffe. It's called Jungle. Really enjoyed that movie. Next is a fantastic movie starring Owen Wilson and Lake Bell called No Escape. And finally, a great thriller set out in the woods starring Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin called The Edge. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys. Share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.